Hello, everybody, this is Purge bringing you guys a first-person replay commentary. This one is going to be about Doombringer. It's been a little changed in the last patch. In fact, he had some cool talent changes. So his level 10 talent went from 8 int to 80 devour bonus gold, so he can get a lot more gold from devouring. He also got a little bit more health buff on the other one, and his other talent is from 6 armor to plus 15 scorched earth damage and heal. This does about 40 damage per second and heals for about 40 HP per second, so it's very good to get this talent. And there's also a movement speed talent as well at level 15, but pretty much exclusively I've gone for the 15 Scorched Earth for the damage and stuff like that. The level 20 talent is kind of cool too. Instead of just raw damage increase, and you can now get Doom DPS increase for your ultimate. 35 is actually a ridiculous amount, and that translates to something like 500 pure damage when you use it, but it can be a bit iffy. In a lot of cases, I feel like it's better to go for the other talent, which is 25 HP per second. But maybe there's some situations where this one's better, especially if you go eggs. So if we look at the hero himself, the other skills are obviously Devour, really long cooldown, lets you eat a neutral creep and take their abilities. Scorched Earth, like we were talking about, makes you run faster, deals damage, and AoE does a lot of damage with the 4th skill point, doing about... It's a little bit over 600 magic damage if you stand near somebody for 16 seconds. And Infernal Blade does damage based on how much HP they have, max HP. But generally in the early game, every additional point that you get versus a 600 to 800 HP hero is giving you about 70 to 90 extra damage per skill point. In the late game, this does a lot more damage though, so your build kind of depends on what kind of situations you're in. And your ultimate doesn't really do that much damage, and the cooldown's stupidly long right now at 145 seconds, so 20 to 50 damage. At level 1, it does a total of 300 pure damage, which is relatively shit, but it does prevent people from using their items or casting spells. So, and also does a basic dispel. So, Doom is kind of very gank heavy, I find. And I just played a couple jungle Doom games because I think that's the only place I've seen him pop up in the pro scene. But I feel like Offlane Doom is actually far better than support Doom. I'm just not a huge fan of the support. The support roaming Doom, it's very iffy. Part of the reason is because you usually get a lot of gold on this hero. So that means if you actually get behind and start feeding, you're feeding a lot of gold and an advantage to your opponent. So dying is actually really dangerous. The other talent that's pretty important, Devour can target Ancients. This is one that I very, very rarely grab, but I probably should grab it more often. The 2% Infernal Blade damage is pretty incredible because that basically means every time you Infernal Blade, you're doing an extra 8% of their total HP as damage. Considering you can refresh this every 4 seconds, it's really amazing. But if they have a lot of disables, I feel like going for Devour can target Ancients is a little bit better. Some of the Ancient abilities that you can grab are like the Granite Golem gives you 15% more HP based on, and an AoE, so you and your allies. That one's pretty solid. I don't remember what they're called, but the purple 4-legged centaur-ish dudes that have the root, that one's pretty good. And the other ability reduces base armor by 50% for a couple seconds. That one's not bad either, and also does a nuke. So that one might be very solid to grab in a lot of cases. But there's probably a couple more that might be valuable on top of that, ancient-wise. The Black Dragon's not very good. It's just like armor and the AoE burning thing, and it gives you a very slight cleave, but you don't really want that. The Thunderhide's okay, because you can give yourself attack speed bonus, and you also get a 15% damage aura and movement speed aura, but generally, I feel like this is kind of a mistake to get in a lot of cases, because you can just eat an Alpha Wolf, and an Alpha Wolf gives you 30% damage bonus, and the 20% chance to crit for 2 times. So I feel like grabbing this talent kind of kills your ability to use Alpha Wolf as well, but maybe I'm overlooking something that's a little bit ridiculous. But generally, Ancients don't really have that great utility. Maybe the new one does. Maybe that's the one that I should be using. That way I can just Doom somebody, use that against them to root them, hit them with Infernal Blade, something like that. Anyways, skill build-wise, I pretty much every time go 1-4-1. I don't go this build, it's really greedy. You don't really want to max this out by 7. Maybe you could argue for some mix between Devour and Scorched Earth, but you have to remember that Scorched Earth is a lot of your damage in the early game when you're ganking. Item build wise, I am not at all a fan of phase boots. This is the few times I've seen Doom played, people were picking or were grabbing phase boots on him, but I feel like Tranquil Boots is by far the better option because it gives you regen options without needing to use Scorched Earth, which again is mostly damage. So Tranquil Boots gives you 3 armor, your hero has really low armor. I think that's the solution. Aghanim Scepter, not a huge fan, just because usually the hero that you're ganking will die before Doom ends, so grabbing an Axe, which does continuously refresh the cooldown if you're within range, is a little bit iffy. It also does apply break though, so if you are against a hero like Slark and you want to disable his passive, that way if you doom him he doesn't get to regen while he hides, then it can be really useful against like Huskar or something, Bristleback. Absolutely Axe is a possibility, but generally you don't want to buy it. Blink Dagger is the most important item usually, pretty much that or Shadow Blade, because it allows you to instantly initiate on heroes you see and then doom. But it helps even more if you have really good vision, that way you know when to go in and who to target. From there, items like Vlad's, Assault Cuirass, Shiva's Guard are basically your transition just to get your armor up. Blade Mail does have some build usages here, but I'm not the biggest fan. I kind of feel like it looks so good on paper, but I'm scared to rush it because it's a 2,000 gold item, and that could just be me. Like, you get so much gold on Doom that it's, in a lot of cases, better to just go for the next big purchase, like grab a Shiva's Guard instead. It's only about 3,000 gold more, which you can get to relatively fast. So I'm not super sold on the Blade Mail. But there's definitely times where it's a great item, and my last game I just played I probably should have gotten it, but there's other situational items like Silver Edge for Shadow Blade upgrades. Sometimes you can go Blink Dagger and Shadow Blade. Options like that I think are really good. And heroes you're good against are just basically heroes with really high HP, because that means your Infernal Blade will do a lot of damage. But generally there's not super massive advantages. I think the Axe one's pretty obvious because you're getting both regen from the Scorched Earth, and you're doing really good damage with Infernal Blade, so it makes sense that you counter Axe. And Darkseer, he just can't damage you through your regen, so this makes a lot of sense, and you can just doom him. So some of these win rates make a lot of sense. Not very good versus Meepo though, because Meepo can just chain net him, and basically these are basically going to be all heroes that do just a lot of damage, and those are the ones that just kind of counter Doom, because they ensure that even though he's regenerating a lot, they'll just do physical damage through all of that. And he actually does have atrocious agility gain, and his base armor is very low. So he actually does have a lot of weaknesses in terms of armor. So certainly some issues there. I've played 60 Doom games, and I have about a 48% win rate. He has a generally crap win rate, 44% at above 5k. This pretty much means the hero is bad-ish. I felt okay about him though. Again, the issues are mostly the fact that when you get ahead on the hero, and then you start feeding a little bit, you're giving a lot of gold because you have tons of levels from Devour, and you have tons of gold as well. I've been buying Midas most of my games. I feel like it's the right item build to go. Generally like Tranquils into Midas into Blink Dagger, or maybe it's worth it to go backwards, but the Midas will get you to 10 a little bit faster, which means then your Devour bonus gold gives you a lot more acceleration. But as you can see from here, apparently people are getting pretty comparable win rates with 250 health, which I can't say I'm too surprised on. I suppose 250 health is a lot, maybe worth it, but as you can see, almost everybody grabs the bonus gold. And this is actually even more surprising that these are equivalent, but you know, this is movement speed that's always on, whereas this is never on, or this isn't always up. In fact, it's got a very long cooldown, so it's like 40 seconds downtime. So maybe I need to put more thought into these. This one felt pretty obvious to me. I pretty much always grabbed the health regen. The times I did try the Doom DPS, it didn't feel worth it to me at all. And the last one I'm not really sold on. I feel like 2% Infernal Blade damage is probably better, but hard to say. 20 movement speed. I don't know if that's justified to me. Interesting. Okay, so let's hop into the game. Close all this. Resume. So, I was talking about playing Doom offlane. I think offlane Doom is the way to make the hero work a little bit better. He does work as a support. Generally, the way that you should do it is basically start in the jungle, eat a large creep. It doesn't really matter which one it is. The best ones are probably the Troll Warlord, because you can summon skeletons, which increase your DPS. Keep in mind, Doom has a really bad base attack time, which means he attacks slower than other heroes. It also means that he scales a little bit worse with attack speed items. So, as a whole, the hero does not attack very rapidly. I would say one really big advantage for the hero is if you're faster than enemies. If you're a lot faster than opponents, it gives you a lot of time to chase them down when you doom them and reapply level death, stuff like that. But generally, by playing offlane, the goal is just to basically stay alive, get equivalent trades, like good trades against people. I can kind of do that here with a Stout Shield and a Ring of Protection. But mostly my goal is to get experience, get levels. If the offlane is a little bit tough, I can go hit up the jungle and jungle with Devour very easily. But certainly at some point I want to get to the jungle and devour something for a neutral. So all of the best abilities in the early game are, I said that when you're jungle roaming Doom, Large Troll Warlord is a good option because of the skeletons, but past that it's not very good because you don't really have the mana pool to cast the Ensnare. So usually something like the Satyr Tormentor can be better, the big Satyr, because it gives you like 5 HP regen per second or something insane. You can grab the Mud Golems are amazing because it gives you a 125 damage nuke. I'm just checking to see what's here. I'm going to grab the Elf Wolf though just because it increases my damage so much. So as you can see, it gives me 18 damage level 1 and it gives me a 20% chance to double hit for double damage. So this is by far the best creep at almost all stages of the game. But the Mud Golem one is really good when you're roaming, in some ways better than the Alpha Wolf one, just because it gives you a really long range nuke that costs 0 mana, has a 30-second cooldown, and will help you get closer and set up some other disables if possible. So when this guy's zoning me, this is a little bit problematic, but ideally I would get into melee range and trade hits with him. Because if I get lucky and get a crit, then all of a sudden his trade is like completely not worth it. So, not getting super lucky here, but ideally just getting close. So my first purchase that I want to grab is probably just Boots of Speed. Sometimes you can grab something like Boots of Speed and Orb of Venom can work out really nicely. Either way though, I am getting experience from the creep wave, just from them being here, which is good. Because he can't really zone me, by all means. I think they have a jungling Bloodseeker as well. So I have to be slightly careful about when he shows up. And whenever the jug comes over, I basically have to escape and get ready to run away, because if I get spun on, it's going to do a stupid amount of damage, and it'll take a while for me to offset that damage. Should have devoured that range creep, I don't know why I did not. Yeah, I don't know why I'm not devouring here, this is really silly. I could get the ability on cooldown and then gain gold a little bit faster. Hey, finally got a crit. If they do want to dive me, I've still got Scorched Earth that I can use. For the twins. Literally no idea why I haven't used Duar. I'm gonna go after the Jakiro here. Tried to gap close on him. It's a little scary. And because he ran through his ice path, I didn't really feel very comfortable. I don't know why I didn't do that like 20 minutes ago. I would have gotten my Boots of Speed so much faster. But as you can see, I'm pretty hard to kill. My HP is really high, and with Scorched Earth, I can basically always trade well, except for against heroes like Juggernaut, maybe like Ursa, Huskar, stuff like that. Heroes that just do a lot of damage. I did obviously get really lucky with the Alpha Wolf aura, but this guy got a little blocked in, which lets me use level death here. This is pretty dangerous, but still using Scorched Earth. He actually got blocked in with the creeps. It's pretty bad for him. That was really close though, I definitely almost died. That was definitely overly divey. But getting the first blood's still pretty big. Should have bought out before I died as well. So, TP back to the offlane, should be buying Tranquil Boots. I actually got an Orb of Venom instead. Okay, this makes sense, I think. Because as offlane, I definitely want to be able to chase people down. And while Tranquil Boots does give me a movement speed advantage, just having the Orb of Venom means I can chase people a lot longer. And I still do have to play a little bit around Scorched Earth. In fact, I'm actually super surrounded right now, so I have to be kind of careful here. And I would like to just eat that Large Troll Warlord and get the experience for it, but it's just not very safe. It's one of the downsides to offlane, when especially when you get a good skill, you're kind of limited in your ability to use Devour as a experience accelerant. If you have a good creep, you can't do that. If you have a bad creep, you can do that. Getting level 5 is basically the part where I'm definitely ready to fight like crazy, because then my Scorched Earth will go from 20 damage per second to 30 damage. Did I miss a whole crap load of these, unfortunately. Even when I'm playing support Doom, I still go this much Scorched Earth, just because I want it to give me as much regen and damage as possible. So it changes your kill possibility so much. It's not really possible for the Jakiro to zone me this game. I'm just trying to get some free damage in here, because my HP is low. This guy really shouldn't have dove like that. He's super messed up. Oh, I canceled my attack like twice there. That's actually huge because I had Orb of Venom here, and I got blocked by the creep. I can just hit this guy instead. I think I made a huge mistake. So that was mostly just like them not understanding the strength of my hero, and I did get a little lucky on the jug there because I got a crit right before he was, right when he was running away. I think I would have gotten the Jakiro as well if I just hit him once, instead of canceling my animation, because then I would have gotten the Orb of Venom slow, which is 12%. But he ends up surviving. He actually had more than enough HP, it looks like. So the other really nice thing about this hero is that Shrine is super beneficial for you, because you're always going to use a mix of like mana as well as HP. And if you're missing HP, you can always use Scorched Earth. And if you're missing mana, then it's not the end of the world for the hero. And you only really need about 70 for the hero to be valuable. Pretty much always you want to go for... Oh wow, I actually got 2 crits in a row. I didn't even realize that's what happened. And in the moment I was like, wow, you do a lot of damage. But that was the equivalent of hitting him 4 times. And then if you just bully your lane a little bit and get some advantage, then you can kind of just do crazy stuff like this, where you don't really care if they're in my lane, that kind of a thing. Doesn't bother me a whole lot. I should really have been checking to see what level Bloodseeker is here. He's actually level 5 at the moment. Right, and that is going to be my Midas recipe. Again, the big reason for the Midas recipe is just so that you're attacking faster. Part of the reason that's so important is because when you're just jungling with the hero, you actually don't gain... You don't really get... you don't really jungle that rapidly unless you use Scorched Earth, so if you go for Midas, it makes a big difference in your farm potential. Whereas I felt like the games that I didn't get it, I felt like I wasn't nearly as competitive in terms of gaining levels, and like when your ultimate's on cooldown, for example, you don't really have a whole lot to do for a while, and just by grabbing a Midas, it gives you lots more farm, lots more levels, reduces your downtime, stuff like that all makes a big difference. Again, I crit on there. I'm getting super lucky. But it looks like it's doing about 4 ticks of 30 magic damage whenever I cast it, and it also does a base nuke of 25, looks like. So it's pretty good skill. This guy did a pretty good job denying me, but my Doom's finally almost up again. And I have just about enough mana to do both, so it's 225 for Scorched Earth and Doom. Usually you want to get at least 1 Infernal Blade in there too, so I need about 260 to do all 3. This is basically... This is the plan here. Chase and slap. I got another crit. I actually crit like crazy this game. And he can't really compete with that actually. His crit is about as good as mine is, but considering how OP Scorched Earth is and the durations that you use it, it really changes the game a lot. And this is another one of the issues with support Doom, is that you really can't rush the Midas quite as fast, I feel, when you're playing support. You just don't get the same time because you never really have a lane to farm in. You can really see the difference in my overall damage just by having Midas. It makes a big difference. I don't know why I wasn't using Devour here. This is a huge mistake. I'm definitely gonna die. Just wasn't using Devour much. I think this is like my 3rd game. I basically got an itch to play Doom, and I played him like 3 or 4 games in a row. But maybe I just wasn't watching his cooldowns very much. So, kind of figuring out what I want to buy here. I think I got Tranquils, yeah. If you go Treads, you have tons of attack speed, but you have really bad movement speed. If you go Phase Boots, you are faster when you phase, but when you're not phased, you're super slow. Because without phase, if you go phase, you're running at 335. So by having Tranquils right now, I'm running at 375. It's like a stupidly huge difference. When you use the phase, I think you run around 430 movement speed or something like that. Oops, I'm slowed actually. Whereas if your base Tranquils, even when you're taking damage, is something like 350. So you're just by all means a lot faster. It's a really nice gank by them. Rupture plus Macro Pyre is just a really solid combo. I did get my Midas off at least, so it's a really punishing gank. We must not be farming very well because the fact that I didn't feed that much gold here is kind of crazy considering how my lane went. A little bit too early for the Sunstrike. Keeping alive is pretty important on this hero. I buy a Windlace, I think. Just increase my movement speed a little bit so it's faster and so I'm more able to chase people down. I didn't really buy raindrops much on this hero. You could probably do it, but I'm not sure if it's that worth it. You already have really high raw HP. I feel like it's better just to go either for Windlace or something else. It's maybe a little bit better. This is unfortunately the camp that I didn't clear earlier, so I can't really, don't really want to Midas it. But we do have new camps spawning in about 10 seconds. Yeah, it looks like we're going to just fight anyways. I should just Midas the creep. To not have it off on cooldown is a big mistake. But I think I did want to get the levels. The levels are pretty important here. Just because that means I can get the Devour Gold a little bit faster. But like we found out from Dotabuff, maybe it's not so worth it. 250 HP is huge at this point. It's basically like it's about 20% increase. It's got no mana, so I felt like diving this. I probably waited too long to do this. I should have done this faster, but I don't think I really needed to doom him just because of I know he didn't have that much mana, but whatever, it's done.
I stoke the furnace with your corpse.
I'm sure the guy could have juked better, especially if he had like a Quelling or something, but most of the support games I played, I didn't go for Orb of Venom. I'm not sure if it's that important, but one thing that is really important is just your level difference. When you play offlane, you're just always ahead, and I feel like Doom's a hero that you kind of need to be a little bit ahead, otherwise the hero's not very good. And the roaming support, it's kind of difficult to do that. Because every level that I have an advantage is just such a big difference. Because it means more points of Devour, more points of level death, things like that. Just really matters. And you might be wondering why am I maxing Devour first? I'm not sure if it's a mistake or not, maybe it is. But I pretty consistently did this. But maybe I'm focusing way too much on gold. Maybe I should be focusing more on the levels instead. Maybe things like level death points. I don't know, there's just so much downtime. I don't know what to do with it. It's kind of greedy to Midas. I just wanted gold like this. Like if, for example, right there, if I had 2 points in level death, that guy probably dies. But here I am still getting Devour. I think I'm going too heavily into Devour, to be honest. Perhaps. Because again, the extra gold doesn't even matter that much if you can't win the fights anyways. And the extra gold just translates into more gold feeding to opponents. I do have the highest net worth at least, but still. Just about at a Blink Dagger. Possibly sell something. Yeah, sold Stout here. Once you get Blink, you should just definitely go for a kill. Grab a bounty rune here. I did this because I could get 2 bounty runes, so I felt that was worth a small tangent. I'll wait to go in until I've got Blink. This is pretty much how you should play every little fight. Pretty straightforward kill. Whenever you do get doomed, especially Blink Dagger, you just have to make stuff happen. If you're not, then you're making a huge mistake. Because the hero's way to collect resources is not just about like the Devour Gold or anything. It's also about the enemy heroes dying, you getting experience from that. It all kind of snowballs together, so at the very least, when you have Doom, you need to go somewhere and get a kill. Depending on the heroes, it's easier or harder. Like, this game has a lot of heroes that are pretty straightforward for me to kill, like Lina, Jakiro, Pudge. They all basically just die if I Doom chase them. They're already kind of slow, they kind of need to cast spells, and we were kind of just winning this game anyways. But the last pub I just played, it was against an Invoker, a Sand King. I just had a lot of disables, and it felt kind of difficult for my hero to be as useful. And if you're just naturally really fast as well, it makes a big difference. Just because when I doom people, I don't get as many right clicks on them. But maybe that's just because I went Orb of Venom this game and I didn't do that in the other game. Not sure. Probably just revealed the fact that we're thinking about ganking that guy. Also got Windlace this game, maybe another reason that my movement speed was so good. Very clear the gank was coming top. This would be an okay time just to go back and get healed. You also might be wondering, why didn't I get 2 points in Doom? Basically, the damage increase is decent. It's like 225 pure damage. Definitely very good, but the mana goes up. And in some ways, just getting Inferno Blade maxed out faster is more important, since the cooldown goes down to 4 seconds, which is basically permanent uptime, and it is 0.4 seconds down when you hit people. So in a lot of ways, it's kind of better just to have it ready to go. I'm checking to see if I'm a huge jerk by grabbing the shrine or not. And there we go. So level death is down maxed out a little bit faster. But I could definitely justify getting like 2, maybe 3 points of Devour max.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
It's like, look at the damage difference here. Like every time I use Inferno Blade, it does 400 magic. Yeah, the Bloodseeker is really behind.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So I think with all these Doom games I played, I think I'm maxing out Devour too fast. I think I just need to get like 2, maybe 3 points. That way I get a better level death. TP the mid lane. Just Dooming Lene is just really safe. If we look at our items, she's got a Eul and stuff. If I don't Doom her, she could Eul's me, Eul's somebody else.
Dire's bottom tower.
Like, that fight's a good example of why you just don't really want to buy Ags on Doom, because it doesn't really amplify your hero very much in most cases. Should really eat this. Eat this. Okay, good. So I got the 15 Scorch Earth damage and heal. I just don't know if the movement speed's so good. 20 movement speed is so little. It does get buffed up by the Scorched Earth bonus here, but I don't think that's very worth it. So from here, from having like Tranquil's Midas Blink, this is basically where you get to make your decision of what is the best way to itemize your hero. And considering that you get so many ways to do that as a hero, it's very important that you make a good choice. So you're pretty much either getting BKB, Vlad's, Shiva's, Force Staff some games I really should have gotten consistently, just because it solves any Linken's breaking problems. With all that said about Ags, I tried it out this game as well. I just felt like this was one of the better games to show you Doom's potential, but I kind of felt like I just needed a lot of survivability this game, because I'm against a lot of magic nukers, for example. I really shouldn't have blinked to that other camp. Actually did deny himself there, but either way, we still dead hero. I built eggs because on paper I really like the stats that it gives. Just way more mana, way more HP, more agility, all that stuff. I'm really into all those things, but most of the time I Doom people, it's just not worth it. I think in this game it was only useful one time, where I was happy that my Doom would be reapplied. And the other thing is, like, your Doom is such a long cooldown anyways at 145 seconds. Is it really worth it for your Doom to come off cooldown faster? But they had pure damage and magic damage. I didn't really feel like going straight Shivas would necessarily be the best option, so hence why we are in this position. We look like we're in smoke. Yeah. I think we're going for the Jug in the mid lane, I believe. So we're trying to wrap around. I think this is the one time that Ags was actually useful, because we had trouble catching up to him. Really should have slapped that guy there. Yeah, the glimpse was a little bit sloppy, but so this is basically why the Ags was good, because we basically took way too long to make that fight happen, pretty much. Just so much damage. Plus I'm just ahead, so... Oh my god. I'm dying so fast.
Mark these words. They're the last you'll hear.
Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's middle tower is under
He's the only
attack.
hero, so I know I can probably get away with this.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
He outplayed me here. That was way greedy. Towers do too much damage. If I had either a hood or a plate mail there, I think I could have done that, but way overly divey. And I think I gave him a stupid amount of gold too. Yeah, that was about 1,000 gold I gave that guy. So I gotta worry about Omni Slash. I think that Jug actually built a Vanguard this game for some reason. He completely went the wrong build. The Vanguard doesn't really help that much against Doom, really. Because if anything, it just increases the damage I do, because it's a lot of HP. So very often just basically TP to a lane, go somewhere where you can get something done on the map, and swap out the plate mail for my Windlace. Just looking for anything that I can eat that's not gonna ruin my creep. Eventually is one thing. So Shiva's is the next pickup, just because I've already got really raw HP. Now I just need to increase my strength against physical damage. And Shiva's is usually a great way just because it increases your mana pool by a lot, and it also gives you more utility in that you can use it as a slow. You pop the Shivas, it starts expanding, and then you blink in. And then everybody's slowed for a couple seconds and helps you chase a little bit better. I'm definitely on the wrong side of the map right now though, fortunately. Which means I probably should be running.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But I don't think I was.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Can't TP for 15, unfortunately. But I can farm creeps.
Dire's
This is
top
one of the nice
tower
things about the
has
hero as
fallen.
well, is that you actually just don't have to buy damage items most of the time, because your base strength is so, your strength gain is so big, that just with an Alpha Wolf your damage actually becomes pretty solid. So I'm really sure if I should doom him here, but he's very dead.
Infernal.
It was a very long TP. Let's see how many
Radiant's bottom tower
heroes
is
are
under
chasing.
attack.
And again, like, another example where having an eggs really didn't do anything. That guy was dead no matter what.
Radiant's bottom tower is
It really
under
did nothing
attack.
other than give me HP. So, maybe even like a Shiva's would have been simpler. I mean, it's a lot of HP though. It's like, what, 375? I do wonder if going for the 250 health might be better though. 250 health's a crap load. Centaurs are okay to grab sometimes, but usually it's not worth it just because they all they do is stun. They don't do anything else. You can certainly use level death on neutrals to farm faster. It's actually quite good. I don't know if it works on the ancients or not. I pretty much ignored ancients almost every single game that I played.
Yes.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Try to farm somewhere aggressive like this, like across the map. Or just use arcane runes to farm faster. My net worth is like way stupid high right now. Again, their Jug is their carry, but he's just not farming well, so this was definitely a bit of a weird game.
I guess I can get faster.
I just wanted to slap him once. This is Bloodseeker. Arcane runes are really good to have on Doom, just because you can lower the cooldown of Doom, of Midas, of Devour, all that stuff. Something like Refresher is certainly an option for Doom.
You're not
It's
going
kind
anywhere.
of like a sometimes thing. I think I died really fast.
I blow you a kiss.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Always Midas the highest experience guys. That's the blue ones, are higher level. Yeah, this game actually did get the Doom damage. I felt like I should just because I had Ags, because it refreshes it. That kind of makes sense to me, but I think I regretted it at some phases where I just felt like if I had a little bit more health regen that I would have survived. I would say that like their carry potential is kind of low in their team. It's like pretty burst heavy. I mean, technically these guys should be carrying, but these guys are fairly straightforward in their nuke. So against bursty heroes, I think the regen's far better. Whereas in other cases where you grab eggs, I think it's relatively okay to go Doom DPS, but generally the health regen's a lot better. I think this is maybe the only game, maybe this and maybe one more, that I tried doing DPS. I just didn't feel very good about it. But it's so much damage. It's actually so much damage. Oh, the duration goes up by 1 second. I didn't even know that. So it already goes up 50, but then it goes up another 35. So that's like, it's basically like 560 pure damage or something. It's an incredible amount. The downside, of course, is that people are getting regen while they're doomed, so it doesn't exactly work that fast. But it's something around that track. Got my shoot is finished. Don't remember what I got. I don't even know if I got Infernal Blade damage this game either. One game I built a Radiance that felt pretty good. Just like running around chasing people down, farming stupid fast. That one worked okay. Just one of the hard parts about Doom is that your hero is so team fight based, but it's finicky. It's all about like initiating, casting the right spell on the right person, and if you don't do that, you're in a really bad spot. Because then they can punish you, for example. It's one of the other issues that the hero just doesn't farm extremely fast. If you had Radiance, this would be easier, but even farming Radiance is kind of iffy on the hero.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
This guy's warded a lot this game. Considering I had eggs, I did queue up Refresher. I was gonna say I think I need to build a Refresher. That way I can actually ulti twice, because otherwise it feels like such a waste to just ulti one guy. Still very reliant on ganks and stuff to accelerate your farm.
Every coin helps.
You know, considering how much you usually spend on resistance items, I really kind of feel like that extra 250 health makes a huge difference. It's probably one of the reasons why the win rate's decent for it, is just because you're always buying at least an armor item or a hood or something like that, and you have really good regen from Scorched Earth, so just increasing your max HP by a little bit can really make a big difference in terms of survivability. To be a bit careful about getting initiated on. I think we came bot in case there was a gank. For the Doom, just to make things really easy. I think they expected us all to be there. Again, eggs really didn't matter at all, did nothing. Guy was gonna die anyways. I don't even remember if I bought Refresher or not. I feel like I didn't. I think I changed my mind. It's so good this game though. There's actually like no reason. Yeah, I got Radiance instead, that's right. Fitting that balance for Doom is kind of hard. Anyways, from here, I mean, the game's sort of essentially won right now. I would say we're stupidly far ahead. We just dicked around, or I should say I dicked around, by getting like Radiance. If I just go Ags, for example, and Refresher, I can just jump into a fight, doom 2 people, and then that's 2 people that if they're anywhere near me, then they're definitely gonna die. Every extra second they're near me, they take an extra 85 magic damage, or pure damage, which is a huge amount. Radiance, like I can buy the Radiance, but you're still item slot limited on this hero. That actually does work against agents, huh? Okay. Honestly, I don't remember what I got, if I got Devour or not. So, yeah, basically go to your lane, roam around doing stuff. Maybe I should open, I think I'm going to open another replay, actually. Let's just pause this. I'm going to open a game where I was actually roaming, because I feel like the rest of this game is kind of worthless, because it's mostly just farming with the occasional gank. And I think you guys already got the principle done. So I'll open that up right now. Okay, so this is a game where I started on the jungle, I got a courier, pooled some tangos. One really cool thing about Doom jungling right now is that you can use clarity potions while you're jungling, and it doesn't interrupt it, so you actually have a pretty easy way to get mana. Not to mention the shrines are also there. Because I ate that treant, I wanted to run back to make sure that my mana was full, even if I got back to the lane a little bit late. Which slightly hurt me. Mostly because I can't actually devour yet. Takes a little bit of time. I ended up finding a creep I didn't actually want that much, so I'll have to eat the centaur here. Just because the experience that it gives you is so big. Now if the creep you eat is too big, it actually takes a long time for devour to come back off cooldown. So when you have like 4 points to devour, it's important you don't eat things that have a ton of HP. You have to be a little careful there. But between the stout shield and the ring of protection, it covered most of my needs. And then now while I'm waiting for creeps to respawn and my devour to come off cooldown, I'm just going to come mid and I'm going to mess with the invoker a little bit. Which I think is, if you guys have experienced Doom in games, it's most likely in this kind of way. And generally you should use Infernal Blade when you're doing this kind of harass, just because it's super easy damage. It's doing like 100 and... Well, let's do the math really quick. If he's got about 700 HP, 1% of that is... I'm not going to even try that. 700, times 0.0125. So 8.75.
First blood.
Is that really right?
And may the all-knowing one bear witness.
Does it really do that little damage? I thought it did more than that. Guess not. It does very little. The calculator said 8.75 per second, which is pretty shit. But I feel like that's wrong. I feel like I did the math wrong. Oh, it also does base burn damage too. Okay, so it's 25 plus 8. So it's like 30 damage per second. For 4. So it does like 120 magic. It's pretty good. Maybe I did my math wrong the other day. I think I did my math wrong the other day. I'll have to do the math again on it. I made a spreadsheet the other day to calculate the numbers. Anyways, grabbed a Mud Golem. This is going to enhance my gank ability. When you do roaming, you should go 1-1-1. Devour, Infernal Blade usually, and then something else. This is a pretty straightforward kill when he came for this. Just using that to start the damage off. It's a little bit hard to click on him here, but by having Hurl Boulder, it's pretty straightforward to get that kill. Well, I might as well just farm these as well while I'm here. They actually do a lot of damage, you have to be a little careful, but...
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
I'll eat one as well. Take your gold. Just gonna run away in case he has Sprout. At this point I pretty much guessed that he did not, so... gold. This is kind of the way that you should roam around. Just boots of speed, a little bit of protection, get some easy levels from neutrals, and then move around getting kills using Infernal Blade, Scorched Earth, stuff like that, and ideally Hurl Boulder, because it's just such easy damage, 125. Whereas if you get the... I don't even have to use Scorched Earth here. Like, that only costs me 40 mana to do that gank. One Infernal Blade, done. It's pretty cool. Don't think I really need to sit here in lane, but I can eat a creep at least. So at this point, once you have like Tranquil Boots, Stout Shield, you basically just move around getting kills, collecting bounty runes, stuff like that. I spent a lot of time on bounty runes actually, probably more than I needed to, but approach from the back is usually what you do here. I'm gonna run at the guy. Just like little stuff like this. Obviously this guy's already really low, but if my ally was full HP, I still have 0.6 seconds of stun here, 0.4 seconds of stun here. That's basically a 1 second disable that I can separate. And Infernal Blade alone does like 120 magic, and just standing near the guy for 5 seconds does a lot. I can maybe try to kill this guy, but it's kind of difficult, especially under tower. If I had Scorched Earth, I could have killed this guy. But your roam is just so possible on this hero. This is probably the best roaming game that I had on Doom out of all of them, but they had like the worst lanes ever because they had like 2 jungle heroes. They had like AFK Jungle Prophet and AFK Jungle Jug, so like it's just gonna provide results like this most likely. And then you should just spend your time trying to figure out where you're gonna gank next, and then just setting up the gank, which is running at them pretty much. I'm just waiting for the Shadow Fiend to come back here for this one to work. So I'm just gonna sit here and wait till he shows, and as soon as he shows, I'll start the gank. There he is. Nuke off here. Cancelled my attack a little bit there. Small mistake. So I didn't know where he was, but did barely enough damage with Scorched.
Wake in lowest hell.
Nothing to do. Go hit up a bounty. So one of the downsides of not having the Alpha Wolf here is that I actually can't jungle very fast. You can do stuff like grab Iron Talon, but I don't really feel like it's super needed. I don't think this hero should spend most of its time jungling. You can do that, but if you're playing a roaming style, just roam around with Hurl Boulder and make stuff happen. Next issue is I actually don't have a huge amount of mana, so probably aim to do like Doom Hurl Boulder on somebody. I could have maybe doomed that guy, but his HP is a little high. If I had more mana, like another 75 mana, I definitely could have killed that guy. But I would have needed to use Scorched Earth to get the kill. Same situation here. Don't actually have... I just doomed him here because I didn't want him to go into this. I knew I only had a little bit of mana. I only had enough to do Scorched Earth Doom or Inferno Blade Doom.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Felt it was way stronger to go for the Scorched Earth. I maybe shouldn't have grabbed that Invis because the SF could have had it. So, this guy's actually faster than me. And again, no spell.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So, and basically at this point I'm pretty much just transitioning towards Midas. It's a little bit later than the one that I got when I was playing Offlane. And my impact has been really high. I've been in 3 kills and 2 assists. Certainly very good. But, I don't know, I still feel like Doom Offlane's a little bit stronger. Kind of depends on the lanes though. If you can't get any experience to start off with, then it's really tough. If they have a tri-lane or something, it's very difficult to get experience from. I totally forgot to put my Midas in my inventory. Go little boulder. Not good enough though. So, just basically move around, try to make stuff happen, get advantage from that. Trying to get these a little bit lower so that I can eat it and I'll be ready. That was probably unneeded actually because the large ones are always dead in time. So.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So just be places where you can make stuff happen, basically, where you can impact the game, which is kind of what I was doing most of this game, and ganking all over the place, and should give you enough of an advantage to transition and basically become core Doom, despite being a support. That's when I realized my terrible mistake. So it's about a 10-minute Midas from a support role, which is good. Obviously this was like a perfect game in terms of like getting lots of kills and assists and stuff. Always want to do it on the big ones because those give the most experience.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Always cast spells when you're in biz. Wanted to doom him just in case he had on me, which he actually did. I was slightly unsure what to do in terms of who I should cast on, but just dooming Juggernaut's really good. So Doom's basically just a counter to any teamfight hero if you can cast before they get their spells off.
Radiant structures are fortified.
So, alright, that's pretty much the game. And Doom. Either offlane, support, kind of the same playstyle. Similar skill builds almost every game. I think in the future, like I said, I'll get less Devours, but Inferno Blade's still pretty solid, I must say. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.